Obviously, Disney and Pixar have a long and storied history, and one where Disney has largely left Pixar just to do their own thing, mostly because of their incredibly successful track record. But recently, Disney has shown a concerning level of oversight with Pixar, most recently seen via some bizarre censorship of their film Turning Red for its Disney Channel broadcast. Now, these really are some incredibly strange decisions in terms of censorship. Most of them just don't work at all. They're very haphazard and awkward. These have been pointed out by the Twitter account Disney Beat, and we're going to play some clips from them. I'll explain some of them. Here's a line from Turning Red where May's mom mentions drugs.
This is what happens when you don't wear sunblock and do drugs all day. This is what happens when you don't wear sunblock and do these all day.
So yes, her concern about this person doing drugs all day has been changed to doing things all day. I don't think I have to tell you that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. She's concerned that he's doing things all day. Everyone's doing things all day. Here's some more awkward censorship of a mention of stripper music.
Mine called it stripper music. What's wrong with that? Mine called it strong music. What's wrong with that?
I don't really understand how strong music even fits this at all. So much of this is, like I said, haphazard and just makes these lines make zero sense. The word crap has been erased 2 separate times within this film.
Crap! Crap, you guys better go. But you guys better go. But
Crap? We're censoring the word crap now?
Holy crap.
And this one is maybe the worst. Here's a line where one of May's friends says that people are saying she's kind of a perv.
And that you're kind of a perv.
I am not a...
And that you're kind of smell like.
I am not a...
Can anyone explain this one to me? This is so awkward. It's really bad. You kind of smell like? What does that mean? Obviously, there are S&P practices for broadcast that Disney has to adhere to, and those things change over time, and they always have. That's always been the case. But this is a PG movie. These things were rated PG by the MPAA. It's strange to make these kinds of cuts at this point in this film's life cycle. Not only that, the way that they have censored these lines is just so horrendously awkward and poorly done. I said this word 3 times now, but the word that comes to mind is haphazard. This is bad. Some really ridiculous choices here, and I think unfortunately it highlights a deeper pattern of Disney's oversight with Pixar that we've seen much more recently. These choices are pretty ridiculous, and while the changes might seem minor in a vacuum, they do point to a deeper, more troubling pattern. Disney has been quietly undermining Pixar for a few years now, and a lot of these undermining decisions have come in the form of creative changes, and in some instances, outright censorship. I think the biggest and most obvious instance of this is in Pixar's animated series for Disney Plus, Win or Lose, about a baseball team. They completely removed all dialogue references for a character who is trans in this show. The character is still in the show. It's clear if you look for it that this is the case, but previously they had outright and explicitly stated that this was a trans character, and all of those references have been removed. Furthermore, Disney has been really screwing over Pixar in terms of a lot of their film releases over the last half decade or so. Now, obviously, this mainly started because of the pandemic and because of lockdown, so we couldn't go to the theaters, and therefore a lot of these films were put directly onto Disney Plus on their streaming service. The films that this primarily affected were Onward, which did have a theatrical release, but it was very brief before everything went into lockdown, and so that very quickly went onto Disney Plus. Soul was strictly released on Disney Plus. Luca was strictly released on Disney Plus, and then so was Turning Red, which was a very bizarre choice because by that point people were returning to the movie theaters. In fact, that very year they released Lightyear in the theaters. I don't know why they chose not to release Turning Red, an original project. In fact, this maybe highlights the stupidest aspect of this decision by Disney, because Turning Red being an original project, I think they feared it wouldn't do as well in the theater, and therefore they wanted to put it on Disney Plus and get a boost to their streaming numbers. However, Lightyear, even as a property that is spinning off of Toy Story, performed incredibly poorly at the box office. Honestly, this really bums me out because Onward, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red is an incredibly strong stretch of 3 original projects from Pixar, ones that they had worked on for years, and the fact that these 4 new original projects were the ones that got undercut by Disney so so poorly in terms of their release, that sucks. Because now they are no longer prioritizing original projects like they did previously. They're looking at the success of stuff like Inside Out 2 and saying, well, we need more sequels. That's why they greenlit Toy Story 5. That's why this is in Pixar, they greenlit Zootopia 2. Incredibles 3, that's gonna be a thing. But all of the cool new original projects from Pixar got undermined by Disney's release model, and that really blows. Especially because like Luca is like a masterpiece. That movie is so deeply underrated. An incredible movie. Probably my favorite Pixar since Coco. Speaking of Lightyear, that film actually also had a limited theatrical run internationally because it featured a same-sex kiss, which really sucks because frankly, that film should have had a limited theatrical run because it was a very bad movie, not because it had a same-sex kiss. Their latest original, Elemental, started really rough and it looked like they were ready to throw it under the bus and throw originals under the bus in general, but luckily it had a little bit of a resurgence in its run. It had a lot of legs and it ended up with a really respectable box office number in the end. Unfortunately, Elemental is not as good as Onward, Soul, Luca, or Turning Red. It's probably my least favorite Pixar original in a long time. I think that kind of shows that some of these other movies probably would have done much better than Elemental had they actually been given a proper chance to flourish in a theatrical release. There are just a lot of really frustrating tendencies going on with Disney and Pixar right now. I mean, Pixar employees have aired their grievances about various things over the years, and recently there was a huge bout of layoffs at Pixar, and of course they came right before Inside Out was a smash success, making like $1.5 billion. A lot of the people who worked on Inside Out 2 were the ones laid off from Pixar, and Disney just gets to bask in the success of that film, despite many of the people who actually put their blood, sweat, and tears into it having gotten laid off and screwed over entirely. God, I love corporate America, don't you? But some of these tendencies are really strange. The Disney Channel censorship, the win or lose Disney Plus censorship, the decisions to put things in theaters or put them on Disney Plus. Hopefully we're going back to a full theatrical model and the originals for Disney moving forward will not be hindered the same way. Elio releases in like a month. Hopefully that does pretty well and hopefully it's good. I personally think Elio looks pretty charming and the animation looks excellent, but it doesn't seem like it has a ton of interest from the public quite yet. The final trailer dropped the other day and still only has like 250,000 views. I'll definitely go see it and I hope it's a great new Pixar original. That movie has also gone through a bit of behind the scenes turmoil within Pixar itself, with the original director Adrian Molina having been replaced mid-production with Domi Shi and Madeline Sharafian, who both came in to finish the film. Despite this, Pixar seems to still have confidence in fostering Molina as a creative. He's co-directing Coco 2, another movie that I'm not sure needs to exist. But outside of Elio and the film Hoppers next year, the Pixar slate is very sequel-laden. But I want to know what you guys think of these very strange turning red censorship decisions on Disney Channel. Also about the just general tendency we're seeing for Disney to censor Pixar in general and kind of undermine their creativity. What do you think about it? Let me know below in the comments and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny Two Cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.